So the problem with Turning Points USA is that they're not going to get away from the Israel question because the younger generation has turned on Israel, and including conservatives. And so they thought by getting rid of Charlie Kirk that they would be able to go full Zionism at TPUSA, and this would all go away. Well, it's not going away because they're getting. This was what that happened just after AmFest. Listen to this.
Conservatives that question foreign aid to Israel get called anti-Semitic by some other conservatives. So am I anti-Semitic for questioning $38 billion sent in the last year while we have homeless American veterans on the streets in need of aid?
What's the premise of your own question?
I think there are some issues with Israel. I think AIPAC should register with FARA. I don't know how much collateral damage should be having in Gaza, but there's a certain limit of how many innocent children and women that should not be dying.
Does not look good for the Zionist takeover of TPUSA. There is a Zionist takeover of TPUSA for sure. Doesn't look good for them. Because these questions aren't stopping because the younger generation finally got informed about Israel, just like I did. October 7th, I didn't know much about. I knew that Israel was an occupying force in Palestine. I had covered some of their atrocities. I didn't know anything about the founding of Israel. I didn't know about the Nakba. I didn't know about the Balfour Declaration. I didn't know about all the false flags they've done. I didn't know how involved they were in all the wars we've done. But now I am. Now I'm aware of all that, and so are they.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is not just TPUSA where Zionists are facing huge challenges, setbacks, as they are trying to take over TPUSA, but it is also in United States Senate and Congress. Last month, Seth Moulton, a Democratic representative in Massachusetts running to oust Ed Markey from the Senate, announced that he would stop accepting American-Israeli Public Affairs Committee or AIPAC's donations and return the money he had previously received from the group. AIPAC is packing. Trust me, they are packing. They're leaving. Ben Shapiro is packing and panicking at the same time. They're leaving. The move raised eyebrows, as Moulton is certainly not a dovish politician. Quote, in addition to being a longtime supporter of Israel, the former Marine pushed for the Houthis as a terrorist organization and refrained from criticizing the Trump administration's June strikes on Iran. Moulton's move makes him the fourth House member to reverse course on AIPAC donations, joining Representative Morgan McGurvey, Valerie Fauci, and Deborah Ross. So the list is going on and on and on.
And so they're getting even Ben Shapiro. So here is Ben Shapiro getting owned at TPUSA by a kid in the crowd talking about remember the USS Liberty. We had one of the survivors of that attack. Israel attacked the USS Liberty, which is a United States naval vessel, and they tried to blame it on Egypt. So that was a way to, and it didn't work, but here we go.
Truth as the most important tenet of American. You cited during your speech truth as the most important tenet of American conservatism. Why, therefore, did you call irrelevant the Israeli attack in 1967 on the USS Liberty, which left dozens of American servicemen dead and hundreds wounded?
Wow, that'll be.
I mean, the crowd's going nuts. That's the real crowd. That's the crowd that Charlie cultivated. Ask questions, never stop asking questions. And Charlie had turned on them. He brought people like Dave Smith, Tucker Carlson to tell the truth about what Israel's doing to TPUSA events. And Candace Owens.
Mm-hmm. Well, not only that, Ben Shapiro is getting called out for his oopsie response to the attack on USS Liberty in 1967, but he's also getting attacked for his version of what it is to be retired in the States, the age limit and all that. Take a listen.
And let's be real about this. It's insane that we haven't raised the retirement age in the United States. It's totally crazy. Joe Biden, if that were the case, Joe Biden...
Yeah, it is totally crazy because you work more and you pay more in your taxes and Israel gets more. That's pretty much is the message.
Should not be running for president. Hey, Joe Biden is 81 years old. The retirement age in the United States at which you start to receive Social Security and you are eligible for Medicare is 65. Joe Biden has technically been eligible for Social Security and Medicare for 16 years, and he wants to continue in office until he is 86, which is 19 years past when he would be eligible for retirement. No one in the United States should be retiring at 65 years old. Frankly, I think retirement itself is a stupid idea unless you have some sort of health problem. Everybody that I know who is...
How lame it is for him to compare the Americans, working Americans, with one guy, Joe Biden, who ran for presidency. I mean, how stupid and how ridiculous, how preposterous this is. Unbelievable. This guy is losing his mind. His logic doesn't stand, and he's just looking more and more pathetic every day.
And of course, you can see up in the corner, I hijacked this video from my good friends over at Do Dissonance. Here we go.
So what I actually said is that if we're looking at modern Israeli-American relations, looking at an attack that happened mistakenly by multiple...
Now, the reason why I speed up Ben Shapiro is because he's slightly more sufferable at this speed. Okay, so I apologize if it's too fast for some people, but I can't listen to him in real speed. I can't take it. So I have to speed him up. Here we go.
What I actually said is that if we're looking at modern Israeli-American relations, looking at an attack that happened mistakenly by multiple Navy reports, multiple Israeli reports, and all available evidence, and using that attack in order to undermine today's relations between Israel and America, that's irrelevant.
So he's trying to pass it off as a mistake. It was an oopsie. It was a sustained attack. Again, it wasn't an oopsie. I'm going to show you that after this. But he's trying to paint it as that.
Relevant as it would be to cite a piece of evidence from World War II or from 1776 to define America's relations with, for example, Great Britain or Germany today. That does not mean that the attack wasn't horrible for the Americans involved, that it wasn't bloody and terrible. The Israeli government paid reparations to the people who were killed. If you look at the actual military record of what happened on the USS Liberty, it was clearly a mistaken and tragic attack. The people who frequently cite the USS Liberty, however, are not talking about the specifics of the USS Liberty. I suspect that the vast majority of people who bring this up are doing so in order to suggest that Israel deliberately attacked an American ship because Israel deliberately wants to harm America.
No, they didn't want to harm America. They wanted to drag America in.
Exactly.
And have them attack Egypt for them.
Generally with a larger point. I wonder if that's your point.
If the truth matters, then the Israeli government must be held accountable for that attack. The American flag was flying on that ship. You do not mistake an American ship for a foreign one when our flag is flying. So, can we just spend the time talking about the specifics of the U.S.
By the way, the CIA director and the Joint Chiefs of Staff also contended that it was a deliberate strike, that it was not an accident. The idea that it is just like orthodoxy or just like widely, or the idea that it is like established consensus rather, that it was an accident is not true. Is not true.
Okay.
Yes, they were flying a flag. And didn't the attack go on for like a couple hours straight?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a pretty sustained attack.
Yeah, and let me ask you, what's your take here, man? Because everybody was so tense during the Tucker thing, and he's got these rousing ovations.
Yeah, they love this. Maybe he's selling it. Yeah, maybe he's selling it.
Attack, or you can actually go look at the naval investigations that were done, multiple naval investigations that were done. The reality is that people were flying Mirage planes for the Israeli military at the time. The USS Liberty was sailing in an area where it had essentially gone off-grid. The Israeli military mistook it for an Egyptian ship. They thought it was shelling Al Arish, which happened not to be true. In the initial attack, the American flag was knocked down, and then the attack went on for about 90 minutes. And then as soon, you can hear this, by the way, on the tapes of the Israeli pilots talking to each other.
This is all made-up story from Ben Shapiro, that this USS Liberty ship was going off-grid, and then it came under attack. I mean, when was the last time we have seen another ship coming under attack by a foreign country the way USS Liberty came under attack by Israel? It is not something you just fire at someone, at a ship that is huge, that is sailing, and then you say, oh, I thought this is the enemy ship. When it happened last time? When? It doesn't happen with anybody, not a single nation, but it happens with the United States because of Israel.
Realize that it's an American ship. They call off the attack. They speed a ship to try and help the USS Liberty.
Yeah,
there have been multiple unfortunate friendly fire incidents between Allied forces, including, for example, in the Gulf War, where U.S. forces were responsible for killing about 9 British troops during the Gulf War. It's an unfortunate reality of war, but you're not answering my question, which is, what is your broader agenda in asking the question?
So, yeah, this is the nature of war. Every time Israel commits atrocity, it is the nature of the war. They commit a genocide. Well, what can we do? This is war. Israel is fighting for its self-defense. So what we can do if we kill thousands of children in Gaza? That's part of the war. We have killed USS Liberty, the sailors there. What can we do? This is part of the war. This is the nature of the war. This guy is a pathetic liar who lies through his teeth without any regret.
Your question is not limited to your specific ire over an incident that happened in 1967.
I think we should question any foreign country's relationship with our government.
That's totally fine. I'm just wondering why you
serve American interests.
Again, I'm perfectly fine with questioning any country's relationship with the United States. But again, I'm wondering what your motivation is in bringing up a 6-decade-old attack as though it is the number one issue in assessing the relationship between Israel and the United States today.
Again, just like in his speech, a lot of straw men. This kid didn't say it was the number one issue. This kid just thinks it's worth bringing up, as of course it is. The Liberty was a spy ship. Israel invaded the Golan Heights the very next day after the attack on the USS Liberty happened. So you talk about motive. Maybe they didn't want the United States getting wind of those plans. There's certainly motive. And I mean, the attack went on for a sustained period of time. It had an American flag flying over. Even if it was a mistake, doesn't that say something? Doesn't that say something about the relationship between the United States and Israel? I don't think anybody really buys that it's a mistake. Let's go.
So no, nobody does buy. And that's there's Ben Shapiro again telling all of us what to think and feel.
Yep.
And it's not working. Nobody's listening to you anymore. And here's that kid who asked that question. He did a little selfie video after the TPUSA event. Listen to this.
Ben Shapiro lied. He said that the USS Liberty incident was an accident. Israel accidentally bombed the USS Liberty. Let's talk about it. The American flag was flying on that ship. When it got shot down the first time, they replaced it, signifying we are Americans, signaling the Israelis to stop their attack. They continued it anyways. On top of that, on the side of the ship, the name USS Liberty and the hull number were clearly delineated. There was no mistaking that that was an American ship. There was always that stuff going on. There was it was a very clear day. There was perfect weather. You could tell from miles and miles away, it was an American ship. American flag, USS Liberty name, whole number on the side. They knew what it was. And they continued the barrage. The attack lasted for over 90 minutes. Over 90 minutes, they continued to shoot. American soldiers trying to survive the slaughter lowered down lifeboats into the water. What did the Israelis do? They shot them down.
Yep.
You know what that is called? A war crime. Seems like a common theme for the Israeli military nowadays. Kind of like this vibe we're walking through all these people. Yeah, it seems like they do that, whether it's the USS Liberty, whether it's innocent Palestinian women and children in Gaza. They keep bombing people. And I'm not okay with that. I don't think we should be okay with that as Americans. And there's nothing wrong with questioning that, criticizing them. That's my right as an American. Whether it's China, Russia, Israel, I don't care what it is. If you are hindering Americans, hurting Americans, harming our national reputation on the global stage, I am going to oppose that. I think this is pretty basic stuff, actually. I don't understand why Ben Shapiro gets so upset. Actually, that's a lie. I know exactly why he gets so upset. Because he is loyal to Israel, okay? And you can rage about that if you want to, but it's just true, Ben. You are loyal to Israel. Don't tell me that you're not. You come at me, you're like, why are you asking that question? What's your real motive? What's in your heart, essentially? And we all know what he's insinuating. So I'd like to give a big shout out to Tucker Carlson, going up there, defending me. Hey, I'm an American. Like Tucker said, I'm an American. I can ask a question about a foreign government, especially when that foreign government took the lives of dozens of my countrymen and wounded hundreds more. So shout out to Tucker for defending me, man. That's pretty sick. Real full circle moment for me. And to Ben, you want to know what my actual motive was? Why are you asking these questions? The reason I asked you that question is because I am America first. Because I put American interests first. And what are American interests if it's not the lives of our servicemen and servicewomen, Ben? I mean, it's kind of getting ridiculous at this point. They rage and cry when you ask a question about Israel. Dude, this is the United States of America. I don't know what you expect. So, also shout out to Phil Turney, USS Liberty survivor, defended me publicly on Instagram. If you don't believe what I'm saying about the flag, about the name USS Liberty and the whole number on the side of the ship, about the lifeboats that were shot down in the water by Israel, then go listen to Phil Turney, an actual survivor of the attack. So, shout out to Phil Turney. You are a hero, brother, and I'm an American. I will stand up for my country no matter what. America first, and at this point, after
I don't know if you can see this.
all the point,
The Zionist
We are a Zionist
generation.
Wow.
We are the Zionist generation. As he walks by, how ironic is that?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah, I can see it right here. Maybe you cannot read it, but Jimmy Dore, he pointed that out. Thank you so much for that, Jimmy. Wow, unbelievable. I mean, yeah, AIPAC is packing. TPUSA is getting rid of the Zionists. If not, they will be getting ridden of by people, because the message is very, very clear and simple. You don't come to our country and you put Israel first. It is America first.